Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's Sumting Wong, and today we will be looking at the Project Ozone 3 mod pack. As promised, I'm gonna make a mod pack review. I told you, several of you guys in the comments that I would be making another mod pack review this weekend because I've had tremendous success on the MC Eternal mod pack review I did. That'll be linked at the end, so stick around if you like it. If you like this kind of content, you can go watch that one. But yeah, that one did overwhelmingly well, and so I told you guys that I'd be trying to put out some more content like that, even though I'm pretty busy with college and all. But anyway, so originally this was gonna be a Project Ozone 3 mod pack review, excuse me, but I did some digging because my one complaint about the entire pack, I figured, is it really a review if you only have good things to say? So I thought, what's the thing I dislike most about the pack? And I ended up going down this rabbit hole on Reddit, and it turns out, I think it's completely justified on why I have this issue. I mean, this issue it makes sense why it's in the pack, and so we'll get to that. But first, why do I think it's such a great pack? Well, as you can see here, I'm on a server right now. I mean, it may not be very obvious, but there's a couple houses scattered around. You can kind of see one in the left corner, one in the right corner, obviously being eaten by a UFO. This was a server. I did a Let's Play together with my friends, and it was it was really fun, playing with 4 friends on here. And I think Project Ozone, it takes a little weight of the grind off having those kind of different people. By the time you're done or tired of sifting, someone else can start doing it and pounding down materials while you actually do some crafting, and it balances it well when you have friends. I think while this particular mod pack is not known for being one people play on big servers because of its ability to be unstable, I do highly recommend playing it with just a couple friends if you're in the situation too. It's a lot of fun. I would say there are weeks, if not months worth of entertainment, depending on how committed you are to hitting endgame, or maybe just kind of having some fun, visiting some different dimensions and making cool gear. And honestly, there's just way too many good things to be said about this pack. As somebody who really, really is driven by quest-based packs, I mean, you won't find one much better than this. You're going to be... there's just so much to be had. And I'm playing it on Kappa mode, right? And so... here's where kind of my issue with the pack started to come in, is that I played this in Kappa mode, so I really have no right to complain about any of the recipes being too difficult, right? But here's the thing. And this comes down to 2 words. Neutral steel. Now, neutral steel was something that, if I remember correctly, was in the pack in prior versions. However, in order to do mystical agriculture, there was much less of a reliance on neutral steel. Thus, you had to produce many, many stacks less over the course of a playthrough. Because the old way they used to do it is you would used to use landcraft metals, so landcraft ingots, and you would use those, which you could go mine for in plentiful amounts, or you could produce a woot farm that would produce those ingots from landcraft mobs. Meaning it was all automatable. The thing with neutral steel is it isn't as automatable. I mean, there are certain resources that are finite you're going to have to end up, or at least things like the blaze powder you need to be able to pump in. I put a blaze spawner in my Cursed Earth mob farm over there that you can see, and I mean, it's the only thing that kind of got me at least to be producing some relatively quickly. But I mean, you're having to produce basically all the thermal expansion, what are those called? The thermal expansion, dusts or the powders, right? Like pyrotheum, cryotheum, all those, aerothium. So all those you're having to produce in order to get just tier 2 mystical agriculture seeds. So you can produce some silicon from it, not super impactful stuff. I mean, it definitely does weaken mystical agriculture, and I have no problem with that because I mean, mystical agriculture is normally pretty OP in packs. But I do think from the Let's Plays I've watched, right, and I recommend that even if you don't plan on actually playing the pack, that you definitely do yourself the favor of watching some high quality Let's Plays, because there's some good ones out there. Hypnotized, Carhark's 82, Both really good YouTubers. I love their Let's Plays. One of them's currently, actually both of them are currently ongoing even, so neither of them are done. They're still playing. Um, I'll link both of their Let's Plays in the description. Do yourself a favor and go check them out, man. They're super high quality. I wish I had the time and dedication to play this pack more and to put out more content about it, but I don't. So this is what you're getting. Getting back to it. So the change to neutral steel made it much harder in the early to mid game, I feel like, and just kind of like harder to automate, a little more grindy. And again, that's the whole point of the pack. So I really couldn't complain that much, but that was my one issue, right? And here's where I found out via a Reddit post that was actually invalidated. Like that is not, I don't have the right to criticize that. Not just because it is Kappa mode indeed, but also because, and for this we're going to need some backstory, some history. So Landmaster, the maker of the Landcraft mod, which added Landia and all of its subsequent ingots for you to, that were an essential part of the Project Ozone 3 questing experience for like a long time, for most of the versions of the pack. Up until about 6 months ago, when this whole drama started. A guy on Reddit quite literally said, and I'll put the screenshot up on screen, whoever made thorium look like diamond is a butt. Now, what this referred to is the fact that the thorium ore of Landcraft looked a lot like diamond ore. And so they could be quite hard to differentiate when you were, vein mining and flying around. But hey, that's not even really a big deal, right? Because if you pick up some extra diamonds trying to get your thorium or vice versa, are you really going to complain? Well, no. And so most reasonable people would not be too offended by this particular Reddit comment. I mean, honestly, I would say this is definitely only a 2 on the scale from what I've seen as far as harsh Reddit comments go. Now, how that ties in. About 3 months after making that post, the Landmaster, the maker of the Landcraft mod, got apparently very offended by this for some reason. And so they decided to add some extra code to all of Landmaster's mods. Keep in mind, he made other mods too, like Tinker's Construct extension, like the alloying add-on and some extra stuff. So that's just one of the ones I know. He made several other mods. And in all of those mods, across the board, he added some extra code that essentially stopped that player from playing the game. Like, imagine, kind of shadow banning or blacklisting them within the mod. So any mod packs that had that, any of his mods and updated, were going to essentially be blacklisting this particular person. And so it was figured out pretty quick, like, that they had done that. People pointed it out in the community. It was against CurseForge terms of service to do this. And so that ended up getting all of Landmaster's mods removed from CurseForge. So really unfortunate. I mean, I've heard about these kind of situations happening in modding communities, more so in like Skyrim and Fallout and a few others, right? Where people just kind of let their egos get in the way of what they love. And that's really disheartening to see. But ultimately, what that made me realize is that, okay, so imagine I had to place myself in Project Ozone's shoes, the people who develop it. So one of a really core mod to their progression essentially just got deleted off CurseForge, right? The future versions were no longer going to be supported. And they wouldn't want that particular player to be, to have issues. So they needed to essentially make a rework, right? And they needed to, without saying shoehorn something in, they really did need to shoehorn something in relatively quickly, right? And when I look at it from that lens, so it really seemed like I can do nothing but congratulate the people who worked on it and the people who fixed it, honestly, that quick, I would say. Yes, I have problems with neutral steel. I think it could have been done better. To me, it just doesn't. While Project Ozone 3 Kappa is grindy, normally you grind for the sake of making the, same grind easier, right? So you keep a little bit of your sanity. And to me, the Project Ozone, to me, the neutral steel lacked that. And that was really unfortunate for me to see. But when I consider the fact that out of the blue, they had to completely rework that part of the questing system, I think, man, this is a better job than I would have expected, honestly. I think this was great work by their team. Um, and all I can do is tip my hat to them. So now that you're kind of caught up on some of the Landia drama, which I found very interesting, again, I thought I was going to be pretty critical of the whole Landia thing until I, of course, did my research for the video and tried to figure out what versions they took it away and why they took it away. But here's my takeaway for the video. What I would say is you should definitely consider playing Project Ozone 3 if you have the time. Additionally, whether you play a newer version and do try to, try out that neutral steel for yourself in order to progress through mystical agriculture, or if you play an older version, because yes, you can still play older versions of Project Ozone 3 and you will have Landcraft in there. So whether you want to try which version, I mean, that's totally on you. I suggest, you kind of just think about it. I mean, as somebody who's experienced, I've put a lot of hours into this pack and other packs, and I would say my recommendation's honestly to go with the Landcraft one. All drama aside, it's just I think you're gonna have a little bit more enjoyable of a time. Also, if you happen to be trying to follow along with a Let's Play, most of the ones out there, people who are just now getting into the pack are still playing the older versions. Now, that's for good reason. Again, if most of the content creators find that it is more enjoyable to play, I imagine you would too. It's more the true, like, what Project Ozone 3 was intended to be. So I would recommend playing an older version with Landcraft as opposed to the newer versions. And then if you want, you can follow along, like I said earlier, with a Let's Play. And you're not going to be lost, because I found myself doing the same thing. I mean, we had put all these hours into playing this with my friends, who are mostly inactive now, but I continue to get on and play this pack a little and progress, But I played this with my friends, and after putting tons of hours in, we found ourselves pretty stuck when it came to just the neutral steel. It was quite a beast, so I would recommend playing the older versions with Landcraft in there. And you can tell just by going on CourseVerge. You can tell if Landcraft is still in the pack if you click on a particular version and you just, in the browser, you Control F and you look for Landmaster. You'll find it by his name because they got deleted off, so they just got renamed to like these weird UUIDs that have like project and then hyphen and then a bunch of numbers. So that's not going to do you much good, obviously. If you try to look up Landcraft, you're not going to find it in the pack, but you will find Landmaster. So look for, any ones that still have his particular projects in there. And that's how you can find the latest version. I'll try to even leave a link maybe below to the latest version in the description. So, yeah, that was kind of my thoughts, guys. Like I said, I planned on this kind of being a Modpack review that definitely went differently. And after doing some research, I mean, I felt like this had to be talked about in this particular drama that really changed and reshaped not only Project Ozone 3, but several other mod packs, man. And ultimately, I think there's a good takeaway from this. And that isn't just, hey, play an older version of Project Ozone 3. But just, I want to remind you guys, don't let your egos get in the way of what you love, I mean, it's a terrible thing that this guy did this. Landmaster banning, essentially shadow banning a certain player because he just gave some honestly constructive criticism. Yes, it could have been phrased better, but ultimately he was pointing out a problem people could have. I mean, what if you were colorblind, right? If you were colorblind, then I'm sure those ores would be really hard to tell apart, So, while I understand it's hard to make custom textures, really, I mean, what he's saying is, hey, consider making a custom texture. It would help me out. Because if the ore was textured different, obviously nobody would think it looks like diamond. So, again, just take criticisms with a grain of salt is what I would say. Now, thank you guys for watching. I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time just kind of giving a tour of some different bases, dimensions, talk about things I liked about the pack, if I haven't done that already. And like I said, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked this particular mod pack review and me talking about a little bit about the history of the mod pack, please check out my MCE video. It'll be linked below or in the end card of the description. And it would really appreciate it. I've loved the feedback I've gotten back from it. And it's just really inspired me to keep making this content, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.